fixing it as they go. We still don't have, obviously, the kind of progress that we would like to see. So it is important that they continue working. In Beijing in 1995, of the 189 countries that were there to adopt the Beijing Declaration, literally only a handful had laws to end violence against women. At that time, domestic violence was spoken about as a private matter. The issue around consent were not even issues. If there was Me Too movement at that time, it would not have succeeded because the laws would not be on the side of women. Fast track to the year 2020, we now have 131 countries who have legislation on ending violence against women. But 159 countries overall still have not laws for safe spaces. So it is this discrepancy that we are seeking to close, but also we recognize that it's not just the laws, it's not just the women who have to address these issues. We need to be doing this work while incorporating and winning the different stakeholders. The police are critical stakeholders, the women themselves are critical stakeholders, municipalities are stakeholders, national parliaments are national, so we need to have them all working together. We also appreciate the role of private sector who also are in these public spaces because that is where they trade. When they also take responsibility to make the spaces safer, that also assists the women. We have, when we started, we had 5 countries that we started with. And these countries, I'm glad to say that they still remain a really strong part of this work. The countries were Kigali in Rwanda was amongst the first cities, Cairo in Egypt, Port Moresby in Papua New Guinea, Delhi in India, and Quito in Ecuador. Such varied countries and provinces, and continents were actually helping us to take the work forward. We have continued in that diverse way. We now have countries that add New York, Brussels, Winnipeg, Belgium, Cape Town, etc. So we are looking for more. And of course, we are also recruiting Tunis to be a member, which is the first women mayor of a major city in the Arab world. But we also have Mexico, who will be a country that will be a city that will be hosting generation equality. So the cross-fertilization and the sharing of experiences that is in the center of this conference is also assisted by these cities that bring diverse and different experiences. I will take questions.
Le micro-baladeur pour que les traducteurs puissent lui traduire la question. Micro-baladeur. Khadija, le micro-baladeur.
Bonjour, good morning. I'm Najat from the Second Moroccan channel. Safe City. Where are we? And what can we say about Moroccan experience?
Of safe cities?
Yes.
What about?
Well, Morocco is, I think, which was the first one in Morocco?
Marrakesh.
Marrakesh, yes. They have been participating. They have affected the laws in this country to take violence against women more seriously. They have also taken the activities to make the cities safe, from changing the lighting, what you do with transport, how you react and respond to women, the provision of safe places for women who are affected by violence in their own homes. And I hope by meeting today with these other cities, they will also get more ideas, but they will also share their own experience with the cities.
Autre question? Quelqu'un d'autre? Oui?
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم. أنا اسمي إدريس الشرقاوي، أنا مدير. أولا السلام عليكم، صباح الخير. أنا اسمي إدريس الشرقاوي السبوني، مدير جريدة الحدث أونلاين تي في. أولا مرحبا بك في بلدك الثاني. أنا سؤالي يتكلم عن العنصر البشري، المشكل حقائق الدول برمتها ومشكل التعبير العقليات. هل هناك استراتيجية، هل هناك رؤية لتحقيق ذلك، وهل هناك ضمانات للعنصر؟ بالإضافة كاين مشكل ديال التنسيق، مشكل ديال التواصل، مشكل ديال التحسيس. ما هو تعليقكم على ذلك؟ وشكرا.
Yes, I mean, I think you're very right. We even say sometimes that you can change the laws, but if the norms and the stereotypes and the belief system of the people don't change, the laws don't succeed. So we are just as active in addressing the norms and the stereotype and the cultural practices. We work with traditional leaders. We have actually assisted to form in Africa, for instance, a continent-wide organization of traditional leaders who stand for gender equality, as well as religious leaders who also support us and who are meeting now at least once a year to address the issues that religion is responsible for when it comes to perpetuating gender inequality. But of course, young people are very important because there's a popular culture that young people are responsible for. So we are also bringing in young people so that they themselves can be advocates. And when it comes into coordination, we as UN women, but just not by ourselves, but we also participate in assisting to coordinate because our mandate is global, so we can work with everybody, and our mandate is for every people because the charter says we the people, and we the people is everybody. It's young people, it's countries, it's legislators, it's traditional leaders, etc. And there's no one we don't talk to. So we try to coordinate all these interest groups to make them speak with one voice. And in this area too, we are trying to do that.
Another question, please? The last one?
Well, let me just say, generation equality as the campaign that will be driven by civil society to make sure that what we have not achieved in the 25 years of the implementation of the Beijing platform gets some significant and coordinated attention. It is going to be important that when we meet at the end of the implementation of the SDGs in 2030, but we're not waiting for 2030, we want to see in 2025, 2020 to 2025, we want to see some significant changes. So when the participants are discussing here, we are hoping that they will also give us some guidelines of the things that they could be taking up so that in the next 5 years, we actually can come back and tell you how much did the needle move in the last 5 years. Hopefully, we will have a lot of good stories to tell.
Bonjour. My name is Jackie Geneva. I'm working to bring safe cities to Chicago.
And my question for you is, what is your advice for convincing city leaders to prioritize women and girls' safety amongst their whole host of other priorities? How do we get them to buy in?
Well, in the first place, the city leaders are not a homogeneous group. They are those who want to do this work, who also need you to support them, who are thinking about how can they also convince the public to demand more from them about gender equality. So I think the first thing is to identify allies, so that the people who are within the cities are themselves the leaders and they lead from within. But also as citizens, you have to demand, because Chicago, like any other city, women are a large population, and these days, fortunately, gender issues are very much in the limelight. So when you engage and talk to the issues, they cannot just be dismissive of you, because this is an issue that is sponsor resolutions and make sure that they are adopted, and be sure to use whatever avenues that they are there for citizens. I think that convincing leaders of cities to take gender equality is a battle that is winnable. Just stay with it. It's really, really winnable. And of course, expose them to what their counterparts are doing in other cities.
Thank you.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Mme Fumzile du journal Climat. Bon, le Maroc, il a vraiment eu, il y a plusieurs plans d'action, il y a plusieurs stratégies, plusieurs choses qui sont faites, même au niveau législatif et tout. Il reste à faire. Parce que je crois que le chemin est encore long. Mais pour vous, qui trouvez plusieurs bonnes pratiques au niveau mondial, quelle est la feuille de route pour vous dans le cas du Maroc? Merci.
Implement. That is the critical thing. Sure. And also, I think it's important that we define our success in tangible terms, so that we have something to monitor. We have something to guide us about the programs that we have made. And by the way, Morocco is not alone in asking itself those questions. What more do you do when you've passed legislation? It's important to implement legislation, but when you implement legislation, you need the support of your public servants, the ones that are responsible for implementing the legislation. You need the support of your public, the one that must demand implementation, and there must be some kind of carrot and stick to encourage those who are implementing and reward them, and to have sanctions for those who don't implement laws that have already been passed, because when they do that, they abdicate duty and responsibility.
Merci beaucoup.
Okay. Thank you.